Hi, my name is Becca, and I understand I kind of look like a pink Ahsoka right now, but I actually do want to sit down with you all with an iced coffee and talk about why the hell am I budgeting in the first place? Like, why would a software tester need a budget? And I'm gonna tell you. So, actually in college, I was very broke. Super broke. Like, I don't think I ever actually made more than $16 an hour when I was in college in 2013. I'm much older than the demographic, but that's I digress. So I never really knew how to budget. I just knew to try to spend less than I earned, which is all good and great, but Seattle's prices have just gone up so exponentially. I was wild, and I'm not going to pretend like it was just inflation. It was my own spending habits. I'm really having zero, and I mean zero, idea what I really spend on groceries because I would guess. And there's this weird like morality and shame that comes with your expenses because you tend to guess less. You want it to be less. You almost want to will it to be less, and then you would find yourself only really getting like a quarter of the groceries you actually need. So I sort of was flying by the seat of my pants. I would always have like, I don't know, $15 left, and then have to make that stretch for 2 weeks until I got paid again. I have always been a bi-weekly paid person. There was one contract that I did while I was underemployed, I should say, where I was getting paid weekly, but truthfully that employer was like all loosey-goosey about that. Okay, cat is scratching on my chair. So anyway, about 2.5 years ago, before I got laid off from that job, I had a breakdown. I had a mental breakdown. My car had broken down. I had to use up the last expenses to get it towed. It was a mess. It was such a mess. And I remember that once I got my car back, and once I got a new vehicle, I had a breakdown. Like, timelines are kind of collapsing in on themselves because I was unemployed for 1.5 years, but this happened a little bit before that. So like when I got laid off, it was in April, but in that December before 2023, I made a promise to myself that I would never be broke again. And I was just so tired of going over budget. I was so tired of my bank account in the negative. That said, discretion, I'm not perfect. I'm also not an accountant. I am a little artist trying to make, I'm not making ends meet anymore. That's another thing, is like, I'm in a better place, but I'm also digging myself out of a hole. So take that with discretion, is that I am recovering and I'm healing. So that day I had a breakdown in my car. I was like weeping that I never want to be broke again. I kept that promise to myself. Haha, on me. That April I was let go. And I was like, well, okay, I have severance. I have unemployment that's coming up after that. I had already put into practice. I was about 2 months into my cash budgeting journey at that point, and I was really getting my feet wet. But this was like, holy crap, I need to go into survival mode. Every freaking penny needs to make sure that it's going towards rent, gas, groceries. Diana, my cat, she is a little calico tortie. I'll probably put pics or videos somewhere here. So irony, right? You're telling the universe, I'm never gonna be broke again. It's like, okay, girl, bye. So when I first got that severance, the very first thing that I did was pay off 3 months of rent. That way, no matter where I was, no matter how I was doing, I would at least have a place to live. Not everybody gets this opportunity. The economy for the game industry, even now, is so volatile. It's so tumultuous. I've been in this industry for almost a decade, and that's a whole nother video for a whole nother day. That said, I at least gave myself a little bit of runway. I had the wherewithal to do that, and I'm so glad I did that, because that gave me several months ahead. And where the budgeting came into play was looking at my data neutrally, looking at the 3 months that I had spent money wildly, just living life. And I looked at, what was I realistically spending? What was I realistically spending in those 3 months on groceries, on gas, on Diana, on miscellaneous? And I tried to break down, again, envelopes that would make the most sense to me. Discretion. I had tried the envelope system in the past, and the biggest problem was me. The idea of having money in an envelope, way too tempting. And I'm still that way, by the way, but I used my ADHD-ness to my benefit, because out of sight to these eyes, out of mind, baby. And so what that meant was I saw the methodology that other Black and Latina budgeters were using. Yes, I know that there are budgeters of all colors. However, I will absolutely give credit where credit is due, that when a budget finally started making sense, was Shea budgets, was Taylor budgets, was all these like Black women budgeters who were like, hey, yo, this is how it's done, baddies and budgets. And finally seeing a video that was a bi-weekly paycheck, 1 month ahead, and still wrapping my head around that, because I don't have 1 month ahead yet. I've been paying down debt. But all of these women that showed me the fundamentals and broke it down even further, because I tend to be very literal. Sometimes I need steps and instructions, and that is what ended up helping me get off the ground. So we'll take it from there. Cool. While that unemployment was happening, I then started receiving significantly less than I had originally been paid. And that was so, God, that was so rough. That was so rough. On unemployment, I had help. I have mentioned this before, from a loving family member, and all I needed help with, all I asked for help with, was like my bills and food. And to this day, I never spent a drop of that on anything else but bills, groceries, and gas. I didn't go out to the bars. Unless it was my own money, I didn't like go to the movies or any of that. Mind you, the unemployment money I did with what I wanted. I did manage to squirrel away and save up enough to go on vacation while I was unemployed, and rent was still paid. So it's doable. It was so hard, and I had help. And it's really important to mention that, because I think that all too often in like the budgeting world too, is that of course you paid off debt. You had to do like double, you have dual income. Of course you paid off like $42,000 worth in a year. It's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's easier when you have a second round of income coming in, or you have a job and you have parents that are willing to house you. I don't have the option of going home. It's a girl, I would have a good. So budgeting came into play. I spent bouts looking for anything. I was hustling. I think last year alone, I had like 4 separate jobs. It wasn't until September, mind you, we are now in January of 2025. September of 2024 is when I found a full-time gig back in software testing. Now I know what you're thinking. Yes, finally, I am getting paid my worth, and I'm very proud of that. It is life-changing. However, I still am living within my means, and a good chunk of my check, as you saw in the cash stuffing, has gone to debt payment. So that means like that could have been fun money, and it's not. It's going towards later fun money, because I still have fun money now. But one of my favorite things that I heard, and I apologize because I do not remember which YouTuber it was. I think it was Selena Trevino, but I could be wrong. Said that I can have it all, just not all at once. And I think she was talking about eating, dieting, but I think it might have been about budgeting. The point is that the fun money is still there now, and I know that I'm not technically like a low income budgeter, and that is okay. But that's where I've been, is food insecurity, not knowing where my next check is coming from, not knowing if I'll be able to stay in this beautiful apartment or like sign a lease. So if you're following me on this journey, here is sort of what the year looks like. I will be paying off debt. I would be doing an actual debt confession. I just need to get everything together, and then it's kind of a vulnerable thing. Like I kind of see now why some folks don't disclose how much they pay for rent, but y'all can think what you want. It's going to be debt repayment, a little bit of savings, and then saving up for a down payment for a tiny house. I am waffling between the set down payment, but I have asked around. I have done a little bit of research, and so I know that 15 to 20K is going to be ideal. So a little bit of like spoiler is I am doing a 5K challenge, and then I am doing challenges throughout the year. I'm doing little mini challenges throughout the year because I see how that works, and I could basically take that challenge, put a clip in it, and hide it from sight. Out of sight, out of mind, because I have money in front of me for the most part, but if I hide it from myself and just show it at the end of the year, that sounds like fun to me, and that sounds like something that I could do, because I should be consumer debt free by the middle of this year. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited for that first check where none of it's to debt, or only about 100 of it is to debt. And one of my strategies for student loans specifically is I'm not paying it off until I get my tiny house. The reason for that is my student loan is the oldest credit that I have. The thing is, well, next to Nordstrom's, but I don't want to close out that account before I get my tiny house, because that could bring down my credit score. That's my thinking. Not everything I say is going to be absolutely perfect. Again, I'm learning too, but what this learning has taught me to do is stay afloat during a not so certain time. And that's what I intend to do with this channel. So it's almost breakfast time. I am going to enjoy my iced coffee. But that's a little bit about me and my journey and understanding how to be poor. But then also, when you get out of being poor, you get into that, I don't know, upper lower class, because like with this economy, how much you make is that's a whole nother thing. But that's that, how to get out, how to survive being broke. And then what do you do once you get a chunk of money, like the most money you've ever made, and being able to not have lifestyle creep, right? Where your lifestyle suddenly starts out budgeting you out is more expensive than what you make. Okay, that's that. We'll see if I post this or when I post this. Anyway, if you like what you saw here in this little vlog, please feel free to subscribe or share it. I'm not trying to sell you anything yet, but I wouldn't say no to sponsors. Anyhow, Thank you so, so very much. And I will see you in the next